It's the Ryan Raventhal Show. With weekly special guests, up-to-date music news, and a special report from Area 51. It's Ryan Raventhal.
Welcome to the show. They're Johnny P. JAWNY PEE. So awesome to have you on the show. So, how you?
Yeah, it's awesome to be here. We've been talking on Facebook for a little while, and it's a pleasure to be on your podcast.
Oh yeah, amazing. I was really thrilled when you accepted my friend request, and I got to pick your brain.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I got to pick your brain a little bit on like artwork and everything too. So.
Yep. Yeah. We've been talking about art a little bit and how to get stuff going, and art's kind of my life. I have a spaz brain, as I like to say, where I can't sit still. So I just either draw or make music or go do tours and keep myself occupied.
Oh,
I'm not a fan of silence.
That was amazing. And I've been checking out a lot of your artwork, and then you also get to do the front cover of the brand new Green Jellö record, which is amazing.
I know that was an honor. I've actually done a couple, and I'm working on one right now that I've been kind of procrastinating on. But the first album record proper, Bill got a hold of me to do the re-release for Serial Killer, and so we did that, and that was amazing because we're all huge fans of Green Jellö art, and I've been Facebook friends with Tim. You did the original artwork, so I tried to honor her style as much as I possibly could, but it turned out really great. And then when Bill went and got the record contract with Cleopatra, they asked me to design up the album for that. So Bill and I worked really hard together, and we worked together to plot out exactly what that vision should be. And so it's really cool because there's artwork in the album that's Where's Waldo theme thing, but it's Where's Krusty, and it has all the band members hiding in the artwork. So whoever's in the band can kind of go find themselves. And it's not just band members; there's fans in there that are just incredibly supportive, people that have become family to us. So it's fun. It's an interactive album art.
Oh yes, definitely. Stop you there.
Yeah, give you something to do while you're listening to the stupid songs.
Oh yeah, stop you there on that note. I remember. I'll talk to you in a minute about Kim O'Donnell because she was a big influence on me as an illustrator myself.
Oh, absolutely.
And
without a doubt, yeah, she's amazing, and she's such a kind person. I was always shocked because I've had a lot of experience with artists, and this is definitely not the entire field, but artists kind of have a tendency to value their work to a degree that they get a huge ego or a jealousy thing about it. And Kim was just like, yeah, do it, whatever, great. And she's got that cool, hey, have fun with it, enjoy it. This isn't just for me. This isn't just my work. I'm going to share it. So, Bill does the same thing, and I think it's a wonderful trait because to me, art is just sharing your ideas. It's the same as having a conversation with somebody, but visually or audio. And I think those ideas should be open to be shared. It's kind of hard to be like, oh, I want my money for my thought. So that kind of drove me nuts, and I was kind of worried about that just a little bit, but the fears are completely unfounded, and that's just because people get so attached to things.
Yes.
But she's been a huge inspiration for me because I've always loved illustration. Robert Crumb's one of my favorite artists of all time, and I grew up loving comic books. And so my art style personally has always been a meld of comic book work or illustration. And so, she was a huge influence because, and this is not an insult whatsoever, but I always gravitated towards more of a lowbrow art style. And I thought she captured that brilliantly, wonderfully. And so all the Green Jellö work was just perfect for me. And so, yeah, like I said, she was a huge inspiration, and it's kind of cool because I, still could contact her at any time and get pointers and get, whatever, and she's just so cool about it. So, and to be able to replicate her art is something that I think is just fun.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely fun.
I imagine.
And then kind of being able to take up that mantle myself later with the Garbage Band Kids album. Now it's an official record release that I get to do artwork on, which is just mind-blowing to me.
I imagine.
So it's just been it's been a treat.
I imagine. I guess I officially have some of your artwork right over here in my apartment. I got, of course, you've probably seen pictures of my green.
Yeah, actually, I was just looking at your collection, and I was laughing about it because I think I saw 3 pieces of mine.
Definitely on the.
I was just giggling over that a little bit ago.
Yeah, the serial killer reissue record.
Yeah, because Silence of the Sponge also, I worked with Rob Gabriel. I worked with Rob Gabriel all the time.
You did that?
And I worked with him and Derek Nelson. Yeah, the Silence of the Sponge cover. Yeah.
That was your artwork?
Oh, that was right when they were doing the album, somebody had done a Photoshop of SpongeBob with the Silence of the Lambs. And so when they went to apply it for distribution, the distribution company said this is a copyright claim, in true Jell-O fashion. So we had to rework it, and Rob got a hold of me and he said, hey man, we got 1 day to get something that's not going to be copyright claimed. And so I changed it just enough so it wouldn't hit the red flag. And so I did the cover for Silence of the Sponge as well. I love Rob Gabriel and I love Derek and I love all oh my God, the Canadian band is so amazing. They're such wonderful people. I've been working with Rob for a long time. I actually did work on the Green Jellö Sucks Live documentary that he did. Me and him did some artwork and for the animation bits. No, I've been working with those guys for a long time. Yeah,
it's awesome. I think I used some of your artwork yesterday when I posted a picture of me smoking a joint. It has the right on the end of the joint to censor it, because Facebook and stuff doesn't like that, so I'm like, censor the end. So I'm like, no,
gotta censor the devil's lettuce.
So I'm like, no, it's not really a joint. So I'm like,
it's tobacco. Well, it's awesome that the stigma on it is going away rapidly. So, I don't think it's such a taboo topic anymore, which is wonderful.
Up here in Canada, coast to coast in Canada, coast to coast, it's all legal.
Yeah.
So it's like, smoking weed, you walk.
And we're slowly getting there in the States. I personally don't use it, but I'm a huge advocate for it. I've watched people heal from it and become less anxious, and I think it's a wonderful tool. But
definitely.
For me personally, it doesn't work. It's something with my ADHD that it just fucking drives me crazy. But I absolutely support legalizing it. Everywhere. It's definitely a fantastic tool for many, 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 many people.
Oh, definitely.
But I mean, hanging out with Bill if you're anti-weed, that's kind of silly.
Like last year, like almost a year ago yesterday, is when I finally met Bill, and met a bunch of guys in the band, and changed my life basically, and and at that point I only had the Serial Killer CD I had since high school, and I had 333 album, and I had the Green Jellÿ version of the VHS tape, which is of course only 39 minutes, where the original VHS tape is an hour long with all the behind the scenes stuff and everything.
Yeah.
So, but after that, after meeting the band and meeting Bill and everything, and I spent hundreds of dollars over the last year just buying all the singles and everything. But one of my main goals of creating that collection was I wanted all the artwork. Because, back in the 90s when I first started drawing, I was right into Mad Magazine and everything. That was a big influence on me and stuff. And that's one of the things I loved about Green Jellö. It's these album covers are awesome, and their songs are silly and everything. It was this is just so mean. But so there was a real big influence on me, just musically, but also artistically. So I'm glad I think I have pretty much all of the covers now, all the singles now that I can, other than a few independent ones, like Frito Feet, the original release and everything. But I'm it's pretty collective.
Yeah, well, Green Jellö kind of ropes you in like that, because there's no other bands that are like that. And I hesitate to even call Green Jellö a band because from my experience with it and how I've interacted with Green Jellö, it's been an art collective. It's been a circus. It's been a play. It's been just bigger than a band. And I'm not a huge proponent for the seriousness of the music industry. I cannot take it seriously. I have a hard time taking it seriously. So Green Jellö has always been not really associated with that for me. It's been something bigger, something different, something that blew away all the rules of a rock and roll band. And everybody says Green Jellö is Bill, and Bill, yes, Bill started that band. Bill's been pushing Green Jellö the whole time, but Bill will allow anyone who is willing to show off their talent, their humor, their skills, and put them in the limelight. So Bill himself is like, I'm not this big rock star entity that needs all the attention. He'll give someone else the attention. I've done shows for Bill. Like, he's let me be the face of Green Jellö. And it's really amazing. I cannot think of another band who would step down to give that limelight to somebody else. You know, it's unheard of. It's completely unheard of. So, like, when I went and interacted with Green Jellö for the first time, I was sold right off the bat, because I thought I was going to go see a show that was just another rock band. I thought I was going to go see another War. You know, and I love War, but that's exactly what I thought I was going to go see. And that was not my experience whatsoever. My experience was like a family getting together and making jokes and partying and having fun, and it was all inclusive. There were no rules, and I was sold. You know, so you say you met him and you went out and bought the entire collection. I met him and I went and bought hundreds and hundreds of dollars of duct tape and foam. I'm like, I am going to be completely immersed in this band, and then I did. I made hundreds of puppets and traveled and made art and just went for it big, and it's become such a huge part of my life, and it's just been astounding. And Green Jellö will do that. People either hate it and they think it's just the worst fucking thing they've ever seen. I mean, there's shows where people are just turned off completely by it. That's the dumbest band I've ever seen.
Oh, yes.
And then the other people are obsessed. They become obsessed, and it becomes part of them. And these are even people who don't have any interest in becoming part of the band. They just love what it's about, and so it's really powerful. Like, which is, like I said, I just can't. I can't compare it to anything.
Like my own family, like my dad, my mom, my brother, are sick to death of hearing the fucking words Green Jellö. Like, literally, like, I posted a meme literally on, like, New Year's Day of what I got for Christmas. Like, like, I posted a meme with my face holding a 2-pack, like a 4-pack of green lime-flavored Jellö. Like, I posted that meme, and it's like, this is what when you collect Green Jellö merch, this is what your family gives you. Actual green Jellö. Like, no, you misunderstood me. Like...
Yeah, you know, I think Jellö got it wrong by suing for copyright or sending a cease and desist for copyright infringement. That was a free advertisement campaign for you guys. You could be selling all your gross lime Jellö for decades. You goofed up.
Yeah, that was crazy. You know, the lawsuits there with the, you know, I like in my collection I have both versions. Like, I have the Jellö and Jellÿ versions on CD and and cassette at this point, you know. But I mean, that was crazy when they got sued, and even Metallica suing the band for Electric Harley. It's like, oh, you used our main riff in your guitar solo. I'm like, it's like, really? That's like a tribute.
Well, that's exactly what I'm talking about with the weird ego thing. Like, they don't recognize parody, and if somebody parodies their work, it's such a horrible thing. You know, it's like, I'm doing advertising for you. I'm having good, clean fun. You know, what are you guys doing? But, you know, once you put money in the equation, it becomes a lot darker.
Oh, yeah.
So, then, you know, I'm pretty sure that was Lars.
Yeah, fucking Lars. Drummer for Metallica. Yeah, that's fucking Lars, you know. Napster Lars.
Oh, yeah, you know. But, you know, and that's exactly what I was talking about with the art. You know, you people are so attached to these ideas that they just get crazy about it, and they get you can't ever, you know, it's like you have millions of teenage kids playing that riff in their fucking bedroom, and you're going to get bent. Oh my gosh. How many teenagers starting cover bands are out playing Metallica riffs, and, you know, you're going to go after everybody? You guys goofs. But, you know, that's just me. I think I have a lighter sense of ownership on artwork, though, so, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, that's kind of the funny thing about Jellö anyways, is Metallica went after him, but the funny thing is almost every single song is a parody of another pop song. You know, the entire 333 album is essentially parody songs of pop hits, you know, so it is what it is. I think got Motorhead, and Three Little Pigs is Smoke on the Water, you know, it's just all this stuff. So it's kind of funny to me. But
I think it was Rob Zombie, I think Rob Zombie did a quote like 18 years ago, when he said, like, oh yeah, like, whatever, like, we're all metal bands, like, we all do a Black Sabbath song, either slower or faster.
Absolutely, without a doubt. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's an undeniable fact. Yeah, but I think it's better to just do it, and if they get mad at you, then change it.
Exactly. I'm like, at this point, like, even with myself, I'm writing music and recording stuff. I'm like, oh shit, this sounds like I came up with this like amazing riff like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, I literally recorded on my phone after I was laying in bed and I came up with it, and I just recorded, like hummed it into my phone. It's like, oh, this is awesome. It's gonna sound wicked. It's like this industrial synth song and everything. It's like this great tunes and these chords and everything. And then a couple days later, I'm like, well, fuck, that's the same fucking tune as Heart-Shaped Box by Nirvana.
Yeah,
it's like, God damn it.
That's inevitably gonna happen when you're playing punk rock songs or basic rock songs. You got 4 chords to work with. You're gonna accidentally stumble on. The entire punk rock genre is the same riff.
Well, hell,
Blink-182 made an entire career on the same 3 riffs.
Well, hell.
The Ramones made an entire career on the same 3 riffs. Whatever.
Oh yeah.
Actually, in my personal songwriting, that's how I write. Is I'll take a song that I really enjoy. I really love the sound of it, and I will take it and pick it apart and change it just enough, or if even that, I'll just make it my own and then put stuff over that. And I think a lot of songwriters do that. Led Zeppelin did that with blues. But it's once again, it's just art, guys. It's just sound. You're talking about tones arranged in a pattern. If it's fun and it's cool, it's fun and it's cool. I don't know why people would get so upset about it. But this takes me back to when I was learning how to draw, and I was experimenting a lot with art, and I had this weird notion where everything that made the job easier was cheating. And I was real altruistic about it. I'm like, I can't use a light table. That's cheating. I have to learn how to do this pure from my head. I'm not going to use a reference picture. That's cheating. And the moment I got over that was the moment that it opened me up to be able to express a barrage of ideas. Now I cheat like a motherfucker. Oh my God, you get artwork done so fast. Yeah, I cheated like a motherfucker. I stole reference pictures. I used my white table. I sketched them out, and I used all the tools, and it cuts the time not more than half. It makes it a quarter of the time to do so. Make it easier. How are you going to express yourself? I started researching Andy Warhol because he's one of the biggest names in art. And personally, I like what he's saying. His artwork itself is not my favorite. But when I learned that Andy Warhol didn't even really make his art and that he had kids in his loft screen printing massive amounts of artwork, he didn't even do it. He's like, I want a Campbell soup can. Get to work, kid. And that kind of opened me up to new veins of it's not entirely about making it hard. You should make it easier. Same with music. If you got a vibe, and say you were writing a riff and that riff hits your head, and then you kind of listen to another song, oh, that's that other song. Roll with it. I don't see the harm in that whatsoever. It sounds good. You already got it established. I was listening, speaking of Rob Zombie, I was listening to a Rob Zombie album, and in the middle of the song, it runs into a Marilyn Manson riff from Misery Machine, and I was like, holy shit, that's exactly the same riff from Misery Machine. And then I realized that half of Rob Zombie's band is Marilyn Manson's old band. Of course. So, yeah, I don't like rules on art anymore. I like the free expression, be it somebody's already created the idea and you're modifying it, or you're paying homage to it, or however you want to do it. I think people will get really scared of making art because of all those rules. And so, I say open it up, open the floodgates, and do what you want.
Oh yeah, that's one of the great
music
things
industry's
about.
fucking dead. It doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about art is like, just do what you want, and it's like there's no limits. It's like, exactly. If someone doesn't like it, well,
yeah,
fuck
exactly.
them.
None. It's not for them. If they don't like it, it's absolutely not for them. But I might love it, and somebody else will hate it. Yeah, great.
Yeah, it always bothered me when someone says like, either like a movie or music or something, like, oh, that sucks. I'm like, why does it suck? Because you don't like it? Well, it's just not for you. I'm like, why is it? Yeah. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean it sucks. If someone's saying the Steven Spielberg movie sucks, I'm like, can you make a better movie?
every single musician has the potential for a fan base. I love terrible music. I understand it's terrible. I understand it. The mass amount
you
of
like my
population
song?
Hates it with a passion. And it touches me. I think it's great. One of my favorite bands of all time is The Residents. And I've tried to get people to listen to The Residents, and it hurts their soul. They cannot handle it. They cannot stand it. But it's just the greatest, to me, it's the greatest sounds ever made. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but it's just a completely experimental band that, they did the masks, and it's a really artsy band, but it just gets in such a realm of weird that people can't deal.
You sent me the link.
They can't hang with it at all. Yeah. But the fan base is so intense. The people who love them with all their heart. So it's there's no such thing as bad art, and there's no such thing as bad music. It's just not for you. And I think that's the hardest thing in people who take the music seriously, in metal circles, in punk circles, and whatever. Oh, it's not good unless it's this band, this riff, this sound. Like, you have no idea. You're closing yourself off to some amazing artwork.
Definitely.
But, you can't please everyone. Actually, that's my mission right now, is to write the worst, fucking, grossest, dumb, unlistenable album. And I still have people who are excited to hear it. And I'm not trying whatsoever.
Hey, you like my song that I posted last week? You like my song, the Cleaning the House, when I'm like rapping about catching a mouse? Cool. I showed that to Bill on Friday night. And I was like, oh my god, Bill Manspeaker's like listening to this fucking shitty song I recorded. And I'm like, if I would have told myself 25 years ago, I'm like, seriously? Like, he's going to have no fucking hope and a prayer of any serious song I actually show him. He's gonna be like, oh yeah, it's gonna be another shitty song. And then I'm trying to sing like Bill, and then I just end up being Oscar the Grouch. Like, oh yeah,
well, Bill sounds like Oscar the Grouch.
Yeah, but I realized that after I recorded, I'm like, yeah, I fucking sound like Oscar the Grouch. Here we go. Yeah.
Yeah. If anyone needs advice on how to sound like Green Jellö or Bill singing, the first rule is do everything you can to do it wrong. How Bill yells is the way that you destroy your vocal cords.
I love when Bill
just yell as loud as you can, as gravelly as you can, and you will get the signature Green Jellö sound. It's really funny because whenever we do shows, the sound guys hate us because, once again, we break all the rules, everything. Turn the volume on the vocals all the way up. When it starts to feedback, turn it up. Sound guys get really pissed when you cup your microphone. It's just kind of an industry pet peeve, because it muffles the mic. It causes more feedback. It makes your voice sound like shit. That's our signature trademark, OG cupping the mic. Just put your hands all the way around it and make it sound as bad as possible. If you look at any picture of a Green Jellö performance, you'll see everybody holding the head of the mic as tight as they can to make it sound as bad as they possibly can. So, if you're trying to capture that Bill Manspeaker sound, cup that mic and just yell. Blow your voice out. It's pretty fun. But yeah, no, I'm really excited about you doing music. You sent me a track. I thought it was great. I thought it was funny. I think it's wonderful that you're pursuing that and doing exactly what you want. It's a wonderful hobby. It's really good for drowning out the noise. That is for sure.
Oh yeah.
So.
Like, I was hardcore into music and guitar playing all through high school and everything. Like, I started playing guitar in 1992. Christmas in 1992, I got my first guitar, and I was all about guitar and music all through junior high and high school. And then, life things happened and everything in the early 2000s, and I kind of got away from it a little bit, and I just didn't play that much, But I'm like, after I met Bill and saw Green Jellö, and I made a bunch of friends there last year, and it changed my life really, and so it just inspired me again. So I got right back into my artwork, playing guitar and stuff again too. So, and then earlier this year I was like, oh shit, I got to start putting some of these old song ideas together. Just go for it. I'm like, if I don't know if I'll ever like perform live, but I'm like, well, at least I'll have something fucking recording. You know, like I have fucking stage fright. You know, I was talking to, you know, if I was ever called up to like sing with someone in a band live, I'd probably run off into the woods. But I mean,
it is absolutely terrifying. Like, exactly. I completely understand that. It is absolutely terrifying. Getting up on a stage and exposing yourself to a group of strangers is absolutely terrifying. You have no idea what the reception's going to be, you know, and 9 times out of 10, they're going to be like, oh, I hate this sucks, you know. But just the simple act of having the courage enough to go expose yourself, to go in a public square and drop your pants and say, hey, this is me, you know, however this goes, it's intense courage. And me personally, I got over it a long time ago. And now I'm just like, I hope this goes bad. But when I was first starting music, I had that, oh my God, what if they hate me? Oh my God, what if they just think I'm the most fucking terrible band on the planet? He's just ridiculous. And it took me a while to get over that. Because, you know, I predominantly stayed in my room and created, and I would just throw my stuff into the void, and I'd get little groups that appreciated whatever I was doing. All the way back, you know, and so I've always had a little group of people that really appreciated it. But when you're going out in front of strangers to showcase who you are live and in person, I think that's what holds a lot of people back, because it's so scary. You know, and just saying fuck it and jumping over the ledge and doing it is so rewarding, because the people who identify with you become friends with, you become family with. You know, if you build these amazing relationships with people that you wouldn't have if you were to stay in your room. You know, so I highly recommend going and doing shows. You know, it's very rewarding.
Yeah, that's my goal.
It opens up a lot of doors to, yeah. Oh yeah, and I have total faith you'll get there. You know,
my goal
actually,
I
love this gentleman in the band. His name is Ricky DeShaw, and Ricky is one of the kindest, most wonderful people I've ever met. Ricky went on America's Got Talent, I believe it was, if I remember correctly, and he got booed off the fucking show immediately. Ricky will not give up. Ricky will go to a show, and he will say, the first thing he says before he does his set is, I have no talent, I suck. You're going to hate this. And then Ricky gets up and he rocks the stage harder than anybody I've ever seen. He is so passionate about his music that even if you don't like the music, you fall in love with Ricky. Like, you just fall in love with him. You're like, hey, you know, even if this isn't for me, I love this man. Me personally, I love his music. I can see how people wouldn't. But, you know, I'm not trying to say I don't love his music. I really do. I think it's great. But just that he has the balls to get up there and expose himself. So much so that he was willing to expose himself to a national audience. To get told that he's a worthless piece of shit, you know. You know, it takes a lot of courage, but the reward is beyond words. It really is. So, you know, and a lot of people ask me, how do you do that? How do you go up and act a fool and do all this stuff? And I'm not even going to lie, it was really hard. It was so hard to get up and act like a buffoon and a clown and be subject to ridicule. But now I kind of embrace it because it's funny to me. But I don't think it's natural for anybody to get criticized and take it. You know, it's going to hurt your feelings. But getting over that is paramount to being able to reach that goal of meeting the people that you're meant to meet and connecting with the people you're meant to connect with. So, yeah, no, I would just go and do it. I'd set up a little synth station, do your thing, write songs that you think are funny, that you think are great, and then do the thing. And the first show, you're going to be shaking and you're going to fuck up and you're going to sweat. Yeah.
Well, like, my goal is, like, I'm going to put probably a few songs out, and I'll have, like, an EP on, like, Spotify and stuff. You know, I'll have a few songs out there and, like, put them out there. I already have the fucking album cover designed, kind of. But I'm just going to put some songs out there. I'm like, okay, cool. And if I get to perform, and down the road, I'm like, oh, awesome. Like, perform for some people who like my songs and dig it, I guess, you know. Yep. But
yeah, you never know. You never know until you throw it in the ether. You know, it could go anyway. It's just kind of a gamble. Actually, the funny thing is when Bill started to do Green Jellö, nobody believed in him. Nobody. Everybody thought it was the stupidest fucking idea on the planet.
Even the
you're going to write songs about poop. You're going to write songs about poop. That's what you're going to do. This is the dumbest idea anybody's ever had. And everybody told Bill that he was a fucking idiot, and they did not believe in him whatsoever until he got a record contract. And guess what everybody said after he got the record contract? Oh my God, you're such a genius. This is the best thing I've ever heard. He dealt with criticism all the way up to that point. He was sleeping under people's tables and working a menial job until he got to that point. And he was just another fucking retard, idiot, who, you know, quote unquote, from other people, until he made it. And the fact that he made it is astounding, and it's wonderful, and it's just evidence that no, put yourself out there, because you never know. You never know how it's going to be received. It could be completely taken wonderfully. Like I said before, I love terrible bands. I love off bands. I love Wesley Willis, and his songs would be considered complete trash. He just had a Casio keyboard and yelled about whooping Batman's ass or a Doberman's dick or whatever. It was all ridiculous, mentally ill shit. And he got a cult fan base. He traveled the world and did everything he wanted to do off of a Casio keyboard, and he just played the loop. So people are going to appreciate it if you find them. You just throw it, and hopefully you get to find the people who will identify with it. So I'm really excited to hear more work for sure. I just throw it up there and see what happens.
Exactly. When I posted that cleaning the house song about the mouse, I was like, I don't know, I find this funny, so I'm gonna fucking put it up there. I'm like, if no one laughs at it, I'm like, oh well, I fucking found it funny. So like, whatever. I laugh at it.
I enjoy doing it, and I'll listen to it. Exactly.
As I said, Bill listened to it too. He was like, he's just like, Bill's just like, oh, it should be animated. I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
Well,
but it should have a cartoon with it.
Yeah, and having an animation is just another level of art. It's just another level of entertainment. And I think it's a great idea. That's what, as far as a lot of comedy bands, it was the accompaniment of the visuals. The song itself is it's cute, but the music videos are what's really memorable. Be it Primus or Weird Al Yankovic or Bill or whoever. The videos kind of are the whipped cream on the top of the sundae.
Well, when I was talking to Bill,
the technology to be able.
When I was talking to Bill on Friday night, I started to sweat because I went to school for animation. I did. I went to college for animation.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and I learned how to classically draw animated cartoons, like classical hand-drawn animation, which is like a lost art now. I learned how to do that back in 2001. And so I was talking to Bill about this, and he's like, examples. And I'm like, oh shit! And I was starting to sweat bricks, and I showed him like three. I'll show you later. I showed him like 3 different examples I had of my own animation tests from college.
Right.
But I was starting to sweat bricks. I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna ask me to animate one of the new fucking videos. I'm like, make this good. He's gonna ask me to animate a Green Jellö video. I'm like, which would be amazing, but I'm like, I'm not currently set up to do that right now.
I'm not ready.
Well, I don't have the.
I'm not ready to do that.
Well, shit, it's like, especially my type of animation with the old hand-drawn animation. I'm like, I
don't know. It's with I was just gonna say, with technology anymore, animation is a lot easier. So you're educated in it. I've learned animation through trial and error.
I remember
I've done a few animations just pencil on paper, and what I do is I would just mount my phone, and I would draw the picture and line everything up, take a picture of it, and then take a picture, and then put it in one of the, there's lots of free animation softwares. I was using Sony Vegas at the time. And you just upload your picture, and each frame, you just upload that new image. And it would have a real similar effect as the animation cameras. It wasn't perfect, but it was cool. Even with technology anymore, you can produce your own album, you can write your own, or film your own videos, you can do animation. I was thinking about the other day how they have all the algorithms for the face swaps. And so I did a little bit of research on it, and they've done entire cartoons out of just algorithm of the essentially digital puppet following the people's face. So they're doing all these animations just of people in a room talking, and then the algorithm matches their mouth movement. So I mean, now it's kind of insane how simple it's become.
Here it is too. It's like with animation, didn't really lead to real employment for me. But right. I'm so glad I was like, that's how I learned how to draw too. Really learned how to draw was when I was in college, because we had life drawing classes.
Same image over and over and over and over again.
we had professional life drawing classes as part of our animation.
Yep.
But also I learned how to do classical animation, which is hand-drawn animation, and you really we had to draw nude models and everything, and because we had to learn how the body moved and really how to animate.
Right.
And so we had to learn how the muscles and bones and everything moved, so we could draw that on paper and how to exaggerate it. Yeah. Nowadays with computer animation, it's a lot of that is done for you in the computer program.
Oh yeah.
So people learning how to animate with computers now are missing almost 90% of the actual art of animation. One of my textbooks.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You will love this textbook I have. It's one of this is about Disney animation, which is a book made by 2 classic Disney animators. The book is beautiful. It's just how they did all these classical animated movies. Like one of my projects in animation school was on Disney, and I went right back to Snow White and everything, and how they made that movie. It's all hand drawn, and how it's just a lost art now. It's it's almost heartbreaking. It's just, and it breaks my heart also too. When you see new animated shows and the animation is shit. You see the new Netflix series with She-Ra, and the animation is garbage. The drawing, the character design, everything is garbage. It's really.
Well, and when you're talking about TV shows, if you go back in the day and watch, Masters of the Universe, versus, say, a Disney movie. It's apples to oranges. You got really jerky, crappy animation, and you got beautiful works of art. I'm more of a Masters of the Universe fan, though.
Don't get me started. Masters of the Universe, that's probably my favorite animated show ever.
Yeah.
I have every episode on DVD. Right?
Oh, yeah.
I have all the DVDs, even Secret of the Sword. I even have the Christmas special.
Yeah, that's fun. I was trying to expose my son to it a little bit, and I was like, hey, this is what I used to watch. And he couldn't even get through it. That was funny. I'm like, but you don't understand. I think it's wonderful. But yeah, it's weird because we've gone through such a melding with technology that there is a lot of traditional aspects that have made certain pieces, works of art, completely classic and memorable, and now it can just be cranked out. So it's kind of hard. It's a weird slippery slope because it becomes open for people who never would have done that prior, and you get more of a creator base. But once again, you have to sift through a lot more stuff to find what's yours, what you identify with. So I have fun sifting through stuff. So to me, it's not really a problem. But back in the day when everything was run on network TV and record companies, they sifted through it for you.
Well, here you go.
They pushed these little box sets of what they thought you would like, marketed directly to you. And now it's kind of open. You can find people anywhere. And animation is such a diverse medium as well, where it could just be a stick figure animation, and I laugh my ass off harder than anything I've ever laughed my ass off to just a gorgeously rendered, amazing piece that somebody put a year of their life into, and it's meh,
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, it's kind of hard to say. No, that's true. I had no idea you'd done a school for animation. That's really awesome. I bet that was a wonderful experience. Yeah. Well, it gives you a lot of skills that you can utilize in a lot of different ways. I think just the versatility of being able to express whatever you want to do is really valuable. You wrote the song. You put your animation to it. It could be a simple animation just to convey the idea. Or you can make it super complicated, or you could just kind of put it into a program and have it animate itself. Oh, I was so astounded when I first saw that. I believe it was Adobe had created an animation application, and you just kind of put a dot of what you wanted to move, and then instead of animating each frame, you just move the dot, and it would fill in the animation for you. It would just kind of move that piece. Oh, well, wow! Like, you mean I don't have to draw 30 panels for a second of film?
Yeah,
how cool is this?
We had to learn that in animation school. Like, we had to actually one of our projects, one of our assignments in learning animation was, okay, you have your character. You have to do a walk cycle. The walk cycle was a big assignment. We had a whole month to do it. And all it is having a character walk from left to right across the page.
Yeah.
It sounds easy, but having that character just do a simple walk, it's like by hand-drawn animation, it's you really learn in that assignment how animation works. And it's like you fuck up so many times, and it's like your character skipping, and it's like the frames are off, and it's a mess, and you have to redo it and redraw everything. And it's like, yeah, that's why they gave us a whole month to do this assignment, because I think I still have my video of it somewhere, and it even has a little skip frame in it.
The thing that I think funny about all that is you spend months animating this left to right film, right? And you show it to somebody, and they're like, "Yeah, cool cartoon." You don't even understand how much time.
Exactly. It's like, but it was like when they watch it, and you're like, oh, did you see that part right there? Like, let me rewind it for you. Oh, did you see that little split second thing right there? Did you notice that? Did you notice? I'm really proud of that. And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Okay.
Yeah, no, I didn't notice anything. Actually, and you make you got to bring me on that topic. It's kind of the funny thing is that's what helps me grow as being able to put out art. I realized no one is going to notice the little weird blip. You know what I mean? They're going to look at the image as a whole, or the video as a whole, or the song as a whole. You get people who get super technical about everything, and you get. Oh, I fucked up this shading on the kneecap. Nobody saw that. Nobody even gives a fuck. And that's such a liberating moment.
and in good art too. That one little fuck up you make. Someone might love that, and make the whole thing for them. Like, oh, that one little thing they did, I love that. Like, it just makes it forever.
I developed my entire style on improper technique. It was just kind of funny, but I'm really grateful because there has been a lot of people who appreciate what I'm doing, and I cannot even express in words how grateful and overwhelmed I get by reactions to my work. the funny thing is to me, is I'm like, there are thousands of real, amazing, trained, wonderful artists out there. Just thousands and thousands. And they blow me away. Just fucking blow me away. I can't even touch them in skill level. But whatever I have is mine. It's unique to me. And so I think people are more identifying with the fact that they would identify with me. You know, they don't want the airbrush sci-fi, amazing, fantasy Boris Vallejo piece. They want the dumb fucking doodle. Every time I do something, I'm just blown away that somebody appreciates it. Because, you know, I look at my stuff and I'm like, oh, that's fucked up, that's fucked up, that's fucked up. You know, the same way you would look at your animation or bits of your music. And, you know, just let it go. People are going to love it. And it's not going to be for some people, and it's going to be for some people, you know, just opening up and doing it is everything. Yeah. So, I mean, I think you should go for it, and if not do an animation, and just do a little stills, you know, like a little story. Cut out a lot of that work. Making it a comic book song would be amazing, you know, just little panels.
You mentioned a comic book. I actually have a comic book in the works called The Fuel Moon. And basically, cool. It's like I spent like years working at a gas station overnight, and all the shit I've seen and dealt with, and it's all based on my experiences. But it's like a comedy horror comic book. I'm actually I'm working on that.
Yeah,
right
well,
now.
working at a gas station would be a comedy horror. Yeah.
No. In the first issue, that I already have almost drawn up. The first issue, there's a prostitute that goes in the bathroom and she turns into a werewolf, and the clerk and everything has to deal with that, which is actually not not much of an exaggeration of the actual real event that occurred.
Yeah. You're just taking an event and adding a little flair to it.
Exactly. And that's just one of many events, really. It's like people for years were always saying, like, you should write a book about your experiences at the gas station. I'm like, So I'm like, yeah, I should make a fucking comic book, really. So I actually started developing it. It's called The Fuel Moon. So you'll see posts about it.
Yeah, nobody has the attention span to read a regular book anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know how to read. No, that's pretty fun. Yeah, you said, is it a completed comic book?
I'm still working on it. I'm still finishing off the first issue, and then I'll look into releasing it independently. And I might actually start doing some like little like short cartoons with it, like just like one-off panels.
Yeah.
And just post them online on Instagram
sure.
and everything. Just like have some like little spin-off cartoons, like one-off jokes.
What?
And just like post them.
I'm excited to see that. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I think I'm going to start doing that. And I also like I'm working like I basically finished a kids book, which is called I even showed Bill the cover. It's called I Met a Robot After School, and it's loosely based on my own experiences back in 1987 about dealing with bullies.
Yeah.
And so it's about a kid basically meets this robot after school, but it's basically just like I did back in 1987. I made a robot, like almost a 6-foot robot with like old car parts and wood. So it's based on that, and basically makes this robot friend, and he learns how to deal with bullies by using his imagination, basically.
Oh, you there?
Yeah.
I think we got cut off.
Oh, I heard some
there we
boots
go.
there.
So I heard some weird beeps and boots, and it scared me.
No, still here. No, was that?
I live out in the boonies, so my internet tends to disconnect sometimes.
Yeah. So initially, how did you meet Bill and get involved with the Green Jellö, and what led you to the?
It was kind of funny because it was really random and out of nowhere. And I can't give you dates or times or years. I do not pay attention to time frames. I cannot keep them in my head. But it's been going on for almost a decade now. So, closer to a decade than not. My son had just been born, and so about eight years, maybe 9. So it was my birthday, and my sister and her boyfriend bought me tickets to go see Green Jellö. And I was stoked. I was like, hey, cool, this will be awesome. And I was expecting it to be just another rock show. Like I said, I was going and expecting it to be like War or something. And I went and saw the show and was completely blown away. So I started talking to Bill and Damien and the guys who play over here, Ryan and Robbie. And so then I went home and got in contact with all of them. And I started making puppets and drawing pictures for Green Jellö and all the guys and just mercilessly spamming them with artwork. So when Bill came around again, I had made a puppet of him. And I just wanted to give it to a gift. And I did not expect it to go as it did. I thought he'd be like, yeah, cool, bro. But Bill was completely overwhelmed and grateful. And Damien was there, and we just started talking, and so we spent the whole night just talking and hanging out by an alley, or in an alleyway, hanging out by the dumpster, just joking and talking and, you know, throwing ideas off each other. And so that was the first night that I had played in the band. And from then on, it was just game on. And Bill and I have been best friends ever since, and I became wonderful friends with everybody, you know, that I've come in contact with that's been in the band. Anybody who takes it seriously. And so we just, from that moment on, we just started throwing ideas off each other and working on projects. And so it's just been, I value Green Jellö for the friendships over the band itself. You know, I can give two shits about any notoriety or any recognition. I just want to go hang out with my friends. Like Bill just came up last month to come just stay with me for dang near a week just to come hang out. You know, like no shows, no nothing. We went and did a wedding real quick, but you know, for the most part, it was just hanging out and chasing aliens and swimming and looking for waterfalls. So, you know, it's kind of funny because as far as Green Jellö goes, I value my friendship with Bill more than anything. You know, if Green Jellö was to never play again, I would still be in constant contact with Bill, and I would still call everybody that I was associated with in Green Jellö because I value their friendship more than anything. But yeah, I mean, it was just really an off happenstance event. You know, I wasn't expecting them to be so open in bringing me in to be part of what's going on, and it ended up that I'm doing an immense amount of stuff now. Yeah, like it's become part of my personality. It's become part of my entire world. So it's kind of a funny thing that you never think, like, I'm going to go to a show and it's going to change my whole life. You know, I think and I had already been doing shows along in the same vein prior. I've been doing music since I was 14, and I've always wanted to do this big, upsetting, funny clown show, and I've been doing it ever since. It was just so wonderful to meet guys who were on the same wavelength. You know, I was really influenced with industrial synth, Wax Tracks, KMFDM Ministry, 16-volt music. You know, I really love the sound of the grinding synth. You know, and so like prior to Green Jellö, my inspirations were doing a funny version of industrial music. Which the two don't really go together because anybody who knows Rivet Heads knows how fucking serious they are. But meeting Bill and seeing that, and meeting the guys, you know, and like I said, there's so much talent and so many wonderful people that you could just pick anybody and get inspiration, you know, and just message them and get jokes and get bits. It's constant. My unicorn horn on my head, which has become kind of my entire staple look, was due to a joke. It was a joke. The whole thing was a joke. Ryan Brown is the guitarist in Portland, and he's a nomad, like Lazy and me, and you know, like Craig. We all just kind of go do whatever shows we can do at any time. So we don't kind of limit ourselves to just the Portland band. It's like we're the band that will go essentially anywhere at any time if we can do it. And so Ryan had this big handlebar mustache that curled up. And the joke was my wife would not let me grow a mustache. She thought it was gross. So I really wanted a handlebar mustache like Ryan, because Ryan's beautiful. And he had this great handlebar mustache. I'm like, well, if I can't grow it on my lip, I'm going to grow it on my forehead. So I shaved my head and did this stupid handlebar mustache on my forehead. And I've had that for 6 years now. The commitment to the joke. It's just fucking funny shit, you know, and just little interactions like that just make your show, you know, just make your bits, make your comedy, you know, it's wonderful.
Amazing. Like, so what was it like? What was
I
it
was
like?
Joke, any fat guy can grow a beard, but how many of them have a unicorn horn?
I agree. So what was it like when you found out you were going to do the album cover art for the new Garbage Band Kids Green Jellö album? Like, how?
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised.
Like, that's amazing.
Because Bill has resources to actually have people who did Garbage Pail Kids artwork, and originally it was going to be one of the original artists for Garbage Pail Kids cards. And that person ended up having to fall out of it for whatever reason. And so Bill hit me up right off the bat and said, "Hey, we got to do this. Would you like to do this?" And he already knew I was going to say yes.
Who would say no?
And,
who would say no?
What it ended up growing into was, originally I was supposed to do all the album artwork, and it grew into having many people contribute artwork to the album. So there's on the back of the album, I think there's 13 separate artists who do individual cards for each song. And that to me is awesome, because it's like I get to collaborate. And some of the people who ended up doing the cards were Garbage Pail Kid artists. And so that's just fantastic. It's like I'm sharing art with all these wonderful people. And actually, a good friend of mine that I've done a lot of artwork in the past, I've been begging him to do artwork for Green Jellö for a long time, and he ended up doing one of the cards for the back of the thing. And I've been collaborating with this guy for years. His name's Matt Metzler, and he's one of the most talented artists I've ever met. But he's very graphic art oriented. He's made a living off of his art since we got out of high school. Like, the guy's just a machine when it comes to cranking out artwork, and he's always been kind of like, that's silly, but then he actually contributed, so I was really excited about that. And so, I'm not the only artist on the album. There's I want to say there's 20 people who are contributing images, and there's going to be a variant cover. So there's a cover that one of the guys who did the original Garbage Pail Kids took my artwork and did it in his style. And so there's going to be a variant too, which is really cool. It was really weird working with the record industry, though. I'm not going to lie about that. Because I'm so used to working with Bill, where it's just like, let's do this, let's do that. There's no rules, there's no anything. And now we got to think like, oh, can I put a middle finger? Can I put somebody's balls hanging out of their shorts? Now there's rules. Oh no, what do we do? But yeah, the great thing is there's going to be some of my personal favorite artists, Maddie, me, Jessica Prinzina. They're just amazing, beautiful artists, and I get to work with them again and have my artwork showcased with them again. I'm really excited for the album. The songs are solid. Everybody who wrote songs for them, I know for a fact, are just insanely talented musicians, songwriters. It's just the album's going to be wonderful, I think. I've only heard a few songs off the album so far, and then some of the other songs are just super secret right now, where nobody's allowed to hear them. But I've gotten the privilege of being able to get some sneak peeks and some songs, which they're ripping. It's going to be an amazing album.
Oh, that's awesome! I can't wait for that.
We'll see how it's received. I just think it's a wonderful project, and in the sense of Green Jellö albums, yeah. I think this album embodies the spirit of Green Jellö the most, because it is taking inspiration from people across the country. We got people in Canada who wrote songs. We got people in Buffalo, New York. We got people from Florida. We got people from California, Oregon. Just everywhere. In India, everywhere. It's tapping into the international movement that it has become. So I'm super excited about it. I can't wait to see how it does. I was a little worried about the record company thing. Bill's old hat at it. I'm not. When people start pulling up weird contracts and lawyers, I'm like, ah! I don't know what to do. But for my end, I don't give a shit. I'm like, use it. Have at it. It's just, people are like, I need your 1099 info and your social security number and blah, 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 blah. Whoa. Can I just say have it? Like, can we just do like a verbal thing? Because I don't give a shit. So that was a weird experience having to do all the paperwork, because whenever I do commissions, it's literally just Facebook business. Like, hey, what do you need? Yeah. Cool. It'll be this much, done. And I've run my art business that way forever. Facebook is the greatest sales platform ever. But so it was really odd getting in the real world of it. So a growing experience for me. I've done artwork for bands in the past, but since the music industry had such a nosedive as far as albums and whatever, all the bands that I've done artwork that were bands I are huge fans of that used to be on record labels, they're all independent now. They're all producing their own music because they can't. They're why give record companies your profits when you can just produce your own album. And a lot of bands that I've done artwork for like that are just doing independent production. So most notably 16 Volt was one of them. I did some t-shirt designs and album designs. It was literally a handshake and yeah, cool, we're good. So it was weird getting into the corporate business aspect of it. But yeah, I mean, it definitely a learning experience. I'm beyond excited for the album to come out. I don't know when the release is going to be just yet. They're working on a couple of bonus tracks right now. I think Psycho and Bill are doing that. And yeah, so we'll see what comes out of it.
Yeah, you're going to be immortalized.
I hope so. I would love to be immortalized in the catalog. And I will be whenever the album comes out, and I'll have my contributing factor along with Kim, along with Bill, along with CJ, along with everybody else who's put their piece to this amazing project. And it's just really mind blowing to me.
I can only imagine.
Because when I do art, I don't do art to appease anybody or to feed a specific. I'm not making art to try to get big. So to be taken on for not even pushing myself, is odd.
How was the feedback from your video there last week or 2 weeks ago?
Oh yeah, it was all positive.
Yeah.
It was all really positive. I was expecting everybody to be like, "Oh, that is so gross and dumb. What are you doing?" I was expecting messages in my inbox from my aunts and uncles, like,
"Oh my God, what are you doing?"
Yeah, what are you doing? So the biggest question I got the most critical question is, people have been asking me over and over again, "Is that chocolate?" And then my answer is always,
in the last podcast,
"No, it is not chocolate." No, it is not chocolate. And that is just like, oh my God.
Seriously?
You're nuts. And so that's the funny bit about it. But as far as all that goes, everybody's fairly used to me as of now. The only people who don't appreciate what I do are people that don't know me at all. I've gotten letters in my mail from my mailbox. People have handwritten letters to send to me saying how much they disapprove of my artwork and what I'm doing. And I thought that was bizarre, completely bizarre and kind of creepy. Let me see if I can remember one of the quotes. The letter opened and it said, "There is a man and someone named Johnny P, and someone needs to straighten him out." And then it went to go on about how I created pornographic artwork and I needed to find Jesus and all this shit, right? And it was just ridiculous. And so I really like that letter, because now anytime I do anything out of pocket or stupid, I just yell, "Someone needs to straighten me out."
Someone please straighten me out.
I thought it was hilarious that somebody went out of their way to handwrite a letter to tell me how gross I am. I'm like, I already know. I live with me. I have to live with this idiot. But on the other end of things is, yeah, I'm an idiot clown who does gross things, and my entire point is to try and make people laugh, because I laugh at everything. You tell me your grandma died, I laugh. It's inevitable. I'm going to laugh at everything, and it's just been how I've been since I was a kid. I'd laugh at horrible shit all the time, and so the things that I think are funny, people don't think are funny at all. I remember we were going to do a show down in California, and we had to drive through a wildfire. And the wildfire was up to the road. People's houses were burning down. The entire city of Redding was on fire. It was just insane, right? And there's my dumbass laughing my fool head off. I'm laughing the entire time. There's a fire encroaching on me, and I'm cracking up laughing. I think it's the funniest thing in the world. It's horrible that people are losing their homes. Agreed. But just the whole excitement of it and the bigness of it, and it makes you think about how small your stupid problems are of your coffee didn't have enough creamer in it, and I'm laughing because there's this huge wildfire. You're worried about your coffee, and it's crazy. But I have a tendency of just laughing at completely inappropriate times, and so I've kind of built that into my entire persona, my stage persona, if you will, which my stage persona is really fairly accurate to who I am in an everyday situation. But I'm a family man. I'm a hard worker. I own my own businesses. I'm really responsible for being a clown. My house is huge. It's too much house for me. I live in a beautiful town in the middle of nowhere, and if you were to compare the two things, I should be riding buses, or not buses, trains. I should be riding trains and playing acoustic songs for drunk crust punk kids, in backyards, which I'm willing to do that too. But it's kind of funny because the people who think I'm vulgar or whatever don't understand that I'm absolutely a model citizen. I do community work. I donate to charities. I do all the things that good people do, but I just have this other side that's ridiculous as well. I think people need to embrace it more. But it's just become everyday life to me. And so when I was doing this album that I've been working on recently, like I was telling you, it was more of I'm bored, I'm going to make something dumb and not really put a lot of effort into. Yeah. And it became one of the funnest albums I worked on. And so I have a plan for every single song that I did to make a stupid video. I don't know if you're familiar with an artist named Tonetta.
No.
But Tonetta is a YouTube sensation in Canada, actually. And Tonetta writes his own songs, and most of the songs are about pornographic, homosexual sex. And what he does is he sets up a camera, and he wears, a little piece of lingerie or a wig, sometimes a mask, sometimes he paints his face. The songs are all really controversial. And Tonetta probably taps into everything that would be considered taboo. And he has hundreds of videos, hundreds and hundreds. He's been doing this since the 80s, I believe. And he became big on YouTube doing these really weird, absurd videos. So I fell in love. Immediately, I saw his videos, and I'm like, this is the greatest shit I've ever seen in my life. So I got a hold of Tonetta, and I said, I really love your work. This is fantastic. Can I do some fan art for you? And he was like, absolutely, do some fan art. So he has a song called The Pressure Zone, and the song is about taking cock, and the chorus of the song is cock, 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 cock. And it's about somebody fucking him in the ass getting past the pressure zone. So I did a graphic drawing of Tonetta covered in jizz and talking about how he wants to take someone's dirty load. Right? So I'm thinking this is right up his alley. He will love this. He will appreciate this. How many people are going to love and appreciate this? No one. He's going to love it. So I uploaded this picture. I tagged him in it, and he became fucking irate, completely pissed off at me. Take this down, you. This is fucking horrible. I hate this. You're getting blocked. This is a guy who dances in his underwear and sings about gay sex all the time. He's upset that I drew him doing that. So I was completely confused. I thought it was a joke, right? I thought he was trolling me for the lulz. I thought it was just the funniest. I'm like, no, he was really fucking mad at me. So I wrote a song called I Made Tonetta Mad. And it's just going through how I made Tonetta mad by drawing a picture of him. And I wanted to do the video in the same vibe as Tonetta, just a little cell phone camera of me dancing around and doing the thing. So the whole album is kind of started as writing a joke song around that little event, and then it turned into songs about poop and songs about fupa chalupas and gumming grandma and shit like that. So that it's not going to be a good album. I'm never going to promise that this is a good album, but it will be gross and stupid. And I'm hoping some people have the same sense of humor I do and appreciate it for what it is. Yeah.
Oh yeah, hopefully. There's got to be some people out there.
Oh yeah. I'm getting some decent feedback right off the bat. So even if 3 of my friends think it's funny, then it's worth doing.
So as you were growing up there, I'm assuming you like movies, of course, too. And what are your favorite movies?
Oh yeah, movies. I am a huge fan of comedy horror. One of my favorite movies of all time is Return of the Living Dead. I watched that movie.
That's a good one.
Countless times. Dead Alive, Evil Dead, shit like that. I really like parody movies. One of my favorite movies ever is probably the stupidest movie of all time, and it's Scary Movie 3.
Yeah, I know that one.
But then on the other hand, I really like serious movies as well. I really like, stuff like post-apocalyptic, Terry Gilliam, 12 Monkeys stuff. I never really got into David Lynch it was a little too abstract for me. But
I
was really a
Peaks.
weeaboo anime geek back in the day because I really loved the animations and a lot of the storylines. So there was a good chunk of my life where I would marathon watch, stuff like Ninja Scroll and Akira and all the old anime movies. And I kind of fell out of it recently. Anything that Miyazaki ever did, I love Studio Ghibli movies. Those are beautiful. I think I went to sleep every night watching Spirited Away for like 2 years. It was just so peaceful to me that. But as far as movie goes, I have an appreciation for most genres, but I think my real true love is in comedy and in comedy horror specifically. And maybe even horror movies that other people wouldn't consider comedy that I think is funny. One of those is May. I don't know if you've ever seen May, but that one's fantastic. Anything awkward, really.
Well, I like some obscure movies. Like, one of my favorite movies is like one of the campiest movies ever. It came out 30 years ago this past March. It's called Spaced Invaders. And it's basically about
Space Invader.
Yeah, like spaced, but like
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Oh, it's so campy. Like it basically it takes place on Halloween. It's like literally my favorite Halloween movie to watch on Halloween. And it's basically these Martians like come across this small town. Like they're flying, they get lost in space, and they put out their radar trying to find the invasion fleet, and they pick up on this radio broadcast of the old 1938 Orson Welles War of the Worlds broadcast. Like the radio station is, and then this local town is playing it on playing the record of it, and so they're like, "Oh yeah, we gotta go to Earth, and that's where the invasion force is." And so they arrive, and they're just 5 idiot Martians who speak English. They're like 4 feet tall. It's the same kind of like makeup effects that made the 1990 Ninja Turtles movie. And so they're all it's one of the just ridiculous movie you'll ever see. But I can quote every line. It's just amazing. It's like,
I'm gonna have to check that out because that's my style. Like, I'm a huge Trauma fan.
Actually, you can watch it
and Classic Nuke High and all that kind of shit.
The whole movie is on YouTube. Someone put the whole movie on YouTube.
Out of line, campy shit, So I'll have to check that one out. Yeah, recently I haven't watched movies in a long time just because I've been wrapping myself up in a lot of creative media and music as well. I've had a hard time finding time to listen to new music and experiment with whatever's coming out. But like back in the day, I remember going to the movie theater and just watching whatever was on. And I remember I used to go to the movie theater so much that I would watch whatever they were playing in that week, every week. I would just go to the theater to kill 2 hours just about every other day. And so, that was back in the day when movies were $1, so you can't really find that anymore. I can't really say that I am a huge sim about as of currently. I'll watch stuff that I find that comes up, but I haven't really followed a lot of stuff. So all the movies I tend to watch are older productions, and I'll put them on when I'm drawing or whatever. But it's kind of hard to find new movies that I really identify with. That's why I kind of really love the '80s. Is because there was so many campy, experimental, silly movies that were just fun to watch.
Like I put together, I put together my top 10 list of movies. I think last year, and I was like, son of a bitch! Like 6 of these 10 movies are from 1986.
It's like 95 is when it stops. I was thinking about that the other too because somebody was my nephew had come to see me. And they were talking about anime, and I'm like, oh man, you have no idea. I used to be so into anime. And then they're naming off all the shit that I'd never heard of, never seen. And I'm like, maybe I'm not into it anymore. Like, I just know the old shit.
Astro Boy.
Yeah.
Even like,
what are you even talking about? What?
Even with my experience in animation, I think that I still was never really into anime, but I loved the '80s Astro Boy. I have that whole series on DVD.
Oh yeah,
I love that '80s version of that show.
Oh yeah, there were some great ones. I mean, you throw a rock and you can find wonderful '80s animation that's just hilarious and fun and light and whatever. But you think about it, they're just doing remakes of all of the movies that we had already seen. They're rebooting everything. I don't know what's causing that other than them not searching for new ideas and just running off of old ideas. But it seems like everything's just kind of being revamped.
Oh yeah,
it feels like anyway. I might be wrong. Like I said, I haven't been keeping up with it too much. But I grew up in Southern California, and I was really close to LA. I was out in the high desert, and so when I was a kid, you're kind of in the middle of movie central. You just drive out, and a lot of people lived where I lived to go commute to LA. Where I lived is where they used to film all the old Western movies. So it was out in Victorville, Hesperia, Apple Valley area. And so we had like museums set up for Roy Rogers and old Westerns. And it's short driving. You're in LA and you can go to Universal Studios and Warner Brothers. And so we're right in the middle of it. And one of my real good friends, his name was Felix, and he had worked for Industrial Light and Magic. And so when I'm a kid, I'm hanging out with this guy. I was probably, I say kid, I was probably about 15, 16 years old. And I met him, and he's like, I have warehouses full of movie props. Full. And I'm like, bullshit, what? And lo and behold, he has the original puppet for the face hugger from Aliens. He's got all the statues that they used for doing the CG effects for Terminator. He's got the gun from the movie Logan's Run. And that was amazing because I ended up getting in trouble with that. You put a chemical in the chamber, and when you pull the trigger, it ignites the chemical and shoots a fireball out of the tip of the gun. So I took it to the fair, the state fair, and I'm running around shooting off these fireballs in the middle of the state fair. And they're getting pissed off at me. You got to put that away. So we ended up having a booth where he was showing off all of his props. And he had the badges that they used on the production of the X-Files movie. And so it's Fox Mulder, Scully, and all that. And so he had taken off, and he put me in charge of watching his booth. And a guy comes up in an overcoat, and he says, "What are these?" And I geek out. These are the badges used in the movie X-Files. I'm going off on all these rando facts about X-Files, right? Thinking this guy's just an appreciator. And then he pulls out his real FBI badge. And he wants to confiscate these badges for impersonating an FBI agent. And I could not believe what was going on. I almost shit myself. I'm a teenage kid. I have no idea what's going on. I'm just geeking out over movie stuff. And this guy is legit trying to arrest me over impersonating an FBI officer. So my argument was like, I'm trying to impersonate David Duchovny? Are you Gillian Anderson? Are you kidding? But the whole thing was legit. It was funny because my buddy Felix ended up coming back to the booth, and he's like, okay, take it, but you're going to get in trouble. So what had happened was Fox Pictures had permission to use FBI on these badges for the movie. And so it ended up being this kind of a semi-deal where the officer ended up getting in trouble for confiscating the badges because they were legitimate movie props from a guy who worked on the show or on the movie. Yeah, so it was a weird scenario. But it was just I can't even tell you how cool it is to like wallow in all these movie props and seeing how everything's made and how it's done, and it's all way more simple than you'd ever think it was going to be. These things are just kind of put together and they're made to look good enough. So yeah, that was fun, and that was in my peak of really enjoying cinema. So it was kind of a treat to be able to play with all those toys.
Yeah, it's amazing. You grew up around there. Like I am literally on the opposite coast from you. I am in Nova Scotia right now. I'm in Nova Scotia on the coast of the Atlantic Ocean. Here, now movies that were filmed here. Titanic was filmed here. The modern day scenes, like with Bill Paxton and everything, and Old Road.
Oh, was it really?
That was filmed here. Well, the Titanic sunk just off the coast from here. Literally, just down the road from me, where I am now, a 5-minute walk. There are Titanic victims buried there because that's where they brought all the bodies from the Titanic when it sunk. They brought all the survivors and the bodies here to Halifax.
Yeah,
and so it's like that's a big piece of history from around here. And there's Trailer Park Boys. Trailer Park Boys. That's all filmed here.
Yeah, Trailer Park Boys.
Those are our hometown boys. Also actress Ellen Page. She's from here.
That's such a cool movement too, because talk about grassroots coming up on your own, becoming mega famous for doing what you love. That's the coolest thing ever. It was kind of funny because, like I said, growing up around it and being there, it's just it has its charm as far as the storytelling and all that. But like when you're in the middle of LA and you you're just walking around, you realize that it smells like pee like everybody everywhere else, you know.
Yeah,
I always thought it was funny that people were like, I'm moving to LA to make it. I'm like, have you been to LA? Like, it's cool and all, but
No, I've been there.
yeah, it's kind of the same everywhere you go.
Yeah, I've been there in 2002. I went down there, and I was right in Hollywood and everything, and it's like everything was smaller than I imagined it. Really, it was like the Hollywood sign and everything. It's all smaller than it looks on TV.
Yeah, like it's sprawled out. There's a lot of buildings, but they're not big. They're just, they're just buildings everywhere. Everything's one story sprawled over this place, you know. And there's some areas that have some skyscrapers, but it's not in Hollywood. You got more 3-story max, you know, and it's condensed. Yeah. So it's definitely not what it's sold as on TV. That's for sure. You know, I really loved hanging out down there. I spent a good portion of my life hanging out and running around LA and Riverside and that whole area. But yeah, I mean, it's a trip because, like I said, coming from there, it's always confusing why people had made such a big deal about it. But you know, I ran away from it. I couldn't wait to get out.
I can imagine after growing up there. I'm like,
well, it's not a bad place to live. It's essentially the same as living anywhere else. People are people wherever you go, you know. But I was so tired of the sun because I was a very sunburned little boy, and so anytime I'd go out to do anything fun, I would just get lobster red and burnt. So I needed to get out of that because I was going to get skin cancer, you know. So I moved to the rainiest place I could find and stayed there for the rest of my life. So where I live now is I live up in Oregon. I live out in the woods in Oregon. And as soon as I hit the Oregon border, North California and Oregon are really similar. But I grew up where it was desert. I'd never been to a forest in my life. And as soon as I hit the border, I was blown away. Well, like, I'm sure it's beautiful and lush and green where you're at, but I saw these trees and the plants and the wildlife, and you see bald eagles flying through the sky, and water's everywhere. And as soon as I saw it, I fell in love. I'm like, this is my place. I can get under a shade tree, you know. And then I ended up moving to Eugene, Oregon. And it's not really a big city, but it's well known for having an artistic community and music, and it was just really nice to be in that area. And and Portland's not too far away, and everybody knows Portland for being whatever they've decided it is that it actually isn't. But they even made a TV show about Portland. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's called Portlandia. And it's kind of funny because all the jokes that they make about Portland is stuff I see in every city I go to. You know, so I'm like, this isn't a Portland thing. This is just cities.
So one thing, though,
but yeah,
you're in Oregon, so I have to ask you, as a movie fan, Goonies Never Say Die. So have you been to the location of the Goonies?
Up in Astoria.
And Kindergarten Cop.
So the funny thing that they don't tell, so the funny thing about that is that's a privately owned home.
Yeah.
So that's a residential home. Somebody lives there. So if you want to go see the house, you cannot go up the driveway. You're trespassing. You cannot go see the house. So what you have to do is you have to go to the road and you have to peek out to the side of some trees, and you can kind of see the corner of some railing. So it's almost impossible to go see the Goonies house. And the funny thing about Astoria, it is the smallest, tiniest little place. Like, it is so unassuming. You would never have guessed in a million years that anything was ever done there, ever. Like, we played a show there once, and 10 people showed up, and no one knew who we were.
I saw one YouTube video, like, from the Goonies house. Like, I saw one, and you look down from the Goonies house, and you could see the school from Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty funny, too. Yeah. So there's a couple, you know, it's weird that when you go there, it's so bizarre that they would even pick that place to film anything, because it's like the northern part of the coastline in Oregon, and it's so tiny and it's so unassuming. And maybe that's why they chose to film there, because there's nothing there. There's actually a place right next to me where they filmed Stand By Me, the movie written off the Stephen King novel. And Brownsville is nothing. Like, it is a main street with the hardware store at the corner. There's not even a grocery store. It's just little tiny mom and pop shops. And what I would say it's maybe 3 blocks long. The whole city is about 3 blocks where you can do anything. And so I thought that was cute that they filmed there too, because it's like you're doing this huge movie that's so famous in this tiny little nothing place. It's kind of cool because that's a little claim to fame, you know. The same with Astoria. They got this tiny little neighborhood that got these huge blockbuster movies filmed there.
You know, Stand By Me, that's one of my top, and the Goonies. Goonies and Stand By Me are 2 films in my top 3, with only
the adventurous coming of age thing going on. The Goonies a little more comedic than the other, but yeah, it's just kind of funny. So yeah,
definitely.
And over here, there's not a ton of movie production, but they do some films in Portland and stuff. And I know Benicio del Toro did a movie up here, and all my friends were losing their minds because they were shutting down downtown Portland to film this movie. And oh my God, Benicio del Toro's here! And I'm like, hey, it sounds inconvenient.
Yeah, there's not much filmed here anymore.
We got goofy little claims to fame up here, like, you know, Voodoo Donuts and stuff like that. It's all real weird kitschy stuff, and so it's kind of funny. But I guess Ken Kesey, you know, the guy who wrote One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, that's an Oregon-based writer, and that was based off of the state hospital here in Oregon, which was a nightmare, by the way. But yeah, that movie was. I don't think that one even touched on the horrors that were actually transpiring in the state hospital here. I believe that was in Salem. But yeah. I mean, we got a couple little weird claims to fame around here that are odd. But yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful state, and I highly recommend that nobody moves here. Actually, we were having a big problem in Portland because for some reason Portland got a reputation for being a nice place to live. And so we had a huge influx in people moving to Portland. And it was horrible because the city was not built for people at all. It's most places you go are 2-lane roads, and they're one-way roads, you know. So getting around Portland can be nightmarish at, you know, whatever time of day, because the city was just not built for the population that is there now. So that's kind of a joke of, you know, you quit moving here. We've had such a huge uprising in homelessness, and it's just been Portland's turned into a tent city in kind of a way, which is really sad to see. It's just tents all over the freeway underpass and everything. We're having kind of a housing crisis with all that. So, you know, it's like, when I hear stuff about Portland of it being this cutesy little weird town that everybody's just artistic and funny and goofy and eccentric and eclectic, and then the reality of it is, you know, it's another city like every other city. We have our problems, and it's not a fucking cartoon bit, you know. Yeah, I don't know. I think things tend to get exaggerated, but. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Look, it's really a fun city though. I've had a lot of good time out there, and it's kind of my go-to to do the city stuff. There's Seattle. I really like Seattle to visit. It's a fun place to run around.
All places I've never been, but would like to visit.
No, they're awesome. They're really awesome. Well, I've been saying I need to go up your guys' way for a long time because I'm really good friends with so many people up there. Why not? Definitely. You know, like I have friends from Florida all the way up to Nova Scotia. Why not? You know, go stop in Niagara Falls, go see the guys in Massachusetts. You know, go see you guys, even if it wasn't to play shows. But I've never been up your way at all.
I'm sure you will sometime.
It sounds like it's a really beautiful, wonderful place.
I'm sure you will sometime. We'll meet up eventually.
Oh yeah, for sure.
My buddy Raw D, who's in the band, he's going to help me actually. Even, maybe sometime I'll actually be able to play in Green Jellö myself. So.
The songs are easy. Do it.
Oh yeah, I know how to play the songs, but they're not too difficult.
So we have kind of an unspoken rule. When we'll have some main solid practice season band members, and they will have all the songs on lockdown. And anybody who's not comfortable with playing a song, like say if you just learned Little Pigs or Three Little Pigs, you could come up and play that song. And if you don't know any of the other songs, just turn your amp down. Who's gonna know? I mean, you go up and you can rock and play and have fun, and play the songs you know and don't play the songs you don't.
Yeah,
the drummer's the one who has the hardest time because he can't turn the drums down.
Yeah. And sometimes it's only the drummer playing too. Just the drums.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen Bill do it himself.
The drums.
Just the drums. Definitely need a good drum.
If we have a bad drummer, we have a bad show. That's how it works. We don't have to have a great guitarist. We don't have to have a great bass player. We don't have to have great vocalists. The drummer needs to be on.
Oh, when they were here,
we're really fortunate to have.
When they were here, we had an amazing drummer and amazing bass player, Mike Hiltz and Eli Hollett, a.k.a. look them up on Spotify, The Bombed Solid. It's just bass and drums, and Mike, the bass player, sings. And what they do just with the bass guitar and drums is amazing. So look them up, The Bombed Solid.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to check that out. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, they just released their album on Spotify.
Yeah, I've seen a few bands who do that. They'll do just like a drummer and a guitarist or a drummer and a bass player, and those are some of my favorite shows. Yeah. Just simple, straight to the point stuff. They're pretty fun. Yeah, no, I say learn Three Little Pigs, learn Anarchy in Bedrock, which is just, Anarchy in the UK, Sex Pistols.
Yeah, same song.
Obey the Cow God, and Rock and Roll Pumpkin, and you'll have essentially the whole set. Yeah. Oh, Bear Song. Bear Song's another one.
Bear Song, yeah. Definitely need to know that one.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of my favorites.
Yeah, they're all really easy. I really like Rock and Roll Pumpkin. Oh, yeah. Anthem's a good one too.
Yeah, Rock and Roll Pumpkin. One of my
I like
favorites.
Rock and Roll Pumpkin because you can stretch that out as long as you want.
Yeah.
Or you can make it as short as you want. There's no, like, Pigs has a steady pattern. It's verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, and there's a whole story with it. Rock and Roll Pumpkin is just whatever you want it to be. Yeah. Dun 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 dun. Or no, I'm sorry, that's Cowgun. That drum beat, the bump back, push it down, boom back, and then you can just do that forever, and ever and ever.
But the hardest thing about that song,
you can tell stories about the pumpkin patch. You can have a kumbaya with the audience. You can take a nap.
Yes, but the hardest thing about Rock and Roll Pumpkin is memorizing the lyrics.
Right. This is Rock
There's
and
a
Roll
lot
Pumpkin.
of lyrics to memorize.
Rock and Roll Pumpkin. Say it again.
Exactly. A lot to memorize.
Every once in a while, we'll do a little theme, like deep in the pits of the pumpkin patch comes a creature so dark and sinister. Yeah, and make a little story about the Rock and Roll Pumpkin. It's always different. It's always funny.
With that song, did you notice it's out of tune a bit?
But, yeah.
Like the beat's a little bit off. Like I was learning that when I was playing it recently. I was like, it's actually a little bit out of tune. Like it misses beats in the drums. It's like it's a little bit off, but it's part of the charm.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, it's kind of funny because when you listen to the albums, they sound so beautiful and so clean. And Danny Carey recorded the drums on Serial Killer.
Yeah.
And so the drums are all astonishingly good. Like, what the fuck? And all the guitars are pretty dang good. They're simple riffs. Most of them are in E minor. They're all pretty basic riffs, rock and roll riffs. But the sound quality is really freaking good. And so I'm working with Bill, and I'm asking Bill about questions about recording. And the funny thing is he's recorded these albums that are so amazing and so wonderful. And Bill still prefers to do screaming in a microphone in a closet in his basement or in someone's basement, And it's so funny because it's you've had studio time with these amazing artists and all this stuff, and it all goes down to DIY, and it's funny to me. And it's funny that even works to me, because I think the charm of that was having so many really amazingly talented musicians who just really didn't care. Let's do these stupid songs. Yeah, Danny Carey, the greatest. Well, I'm not going to say anyone's the greatest, but one of the greatest drummers of all time, spent a very decent amount of his music career playing Rock and Roll Pumpkin. It's funny to me. I think all the songs were written so that people could play them. I think anybody could pick it up and play it, So, I highly suggest learning those songs and just plunking them out and learn them good enough. You don't have to learn them perfect; it's just good enough.
Yeah.
General know.
That most of the audience in the Green Jellö shows are not sober anyways when they're at the shows.
Oh, no, not at all.
They're just,
and sometimes
awesome.
none of the band members are sober either.
Exactly. So this is one big party.
It's funny because I don't do drugs or drink or anything. I'm pretty sober, and the only thing Bill ever does is smoke weed. And a lot of the band members, they'll have a beer here and there, but every once in a while we'll get somebody who's just shithouse hammered, fucking trashed. And I would never suggest that because you always end up the butt of the joke. Like you will always get called out for it. You will always be the butt of the joke. You'll be known as the guy who fucked up the show. So most of us just don't drink or do anything. I don't drink or do drugs at all, and a lot of the guys don't. Most of the guys who are regular band members who are like I like to call them the nomads. I don't know if that's an official term or not, but they're just the guys who travel around all over the place. Most of those guys are sober, and they don't do drugs at all. Most of them, not all of them, but most of them. And the guys who do drink or whatever, they save it for after the show. So during the show, as goofy as we all look or whatever, most of us are sober. None of us get hammered before the show. The audience does. Oh my God, they get crazy drunk. No. I think the drunkest show I've ever been to was in Olympia, Washington, and the bar didn't have a cutoff for booze, and so the people were so drunk
not good
that they couldn't even. They just couldn't even. Anytime they put a puppet on, they fell on the ground. Like, there was any directions that were given. You know how Bill, like, hey, you get up here and do this thing. They couldn't even do it. Like, no one could. So it just turned into this big slobbery puddle of drunk people. It was the funniest fucking thing. Thank you, Bar, for not having a cutoff. Yeah. Yeah, but that always made me laugh too, because Bill's like, go drink and do drugs and do the things, and he's probably one of the most wholesome sober guys I know.
Amazing. Well, I know we've been talking for almost 2 hours there, man.
Oh, shit, well, I can let you go.
That's great. We can talk all day. We can talk all day.
Anytime you want to do anything, I'm more than willing to have a phone chat with you. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Oh yeah, definitely. We'll definitely have you on the podcast again. Especially when Garbage Band Kids comes out too. We'll definitely have you on then too.
Yeah, we could probably figure a way to get a cool, sweet three-way going on too. Because I know Lazy D is a real fun personality to have. I don't know if you've ever talked to him, and you're friends with Roddy. It'd be kind of cool to get
I'm friends with Lazy D.
A group conversation that's not on our duct tape cell phones.
Definitely. So, before you go there, is there anything? I was going to say last words. Any inspirational words you want to leave?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes, eat your vegetables. Don't take anything too seriously. Call your mom, and whoop whoop. That's what I got.
We're gonna also put a piece of your music in here into the podcast too, which you'll hear soon. Here.
Fantastic. I apologize in advance because it is going to be stupid.
All right, thank you so much for being my guest on this podcast. This is like over 2 hours long, even though I'm gonna edit it a little bit. This is over 2 hours long. It's awesome. It was a pleasure talking to you. This is gonna just
awesome.
Gonna be a great podcast.
Well, cool. I'll let you go, brothers. You have a wonderful day.
You as well. Thank you so much again.
No problem. Anytime.
And here is some Johnny P music. We apologize.
He was
Ryan Raventhal Show. With weekly special guests, up-to-date music news, and a special report from Area 51. It's Ryan Raventhal.
Welcome to the show. They're Johnny P. JAWNY.